Hey, BSP superfans. You're now listening to episode 19 of the Black Swan podcast. This is somewhat of a last-minute episode. Abby Fisher and Matthew Lau, aka the Fisher-Lau Project, submitted a short Zoom video for our current sound solution project, talking about their long-distance collaboration over the last several years. I'm sort of a fly on the wall for this episode, as I totally left it up to Abby and Matt to provide the content. If you're not familiar with our Sound Solution project, this is a 2-week online educational event we host a few times a year. We release a selection of BSP artists and educator contributions. We share content from BSP headquarters, and we work with an official BSP retailer on a product promotion. 15% off most BSP product through Steve Weiss Music in this case. We also launched 2 new BSP percussion performance packs, featuring a small collection of common accessory products at a discounted price. These bundles are appropriate for individuals or programs of all levels, whether you're spending more time at home practicing these days or expanding your personal collection of instruments for possible on-site rehearsals and performances. This episode of the Black Swamp Podcast is also sponsored by the Percussion Pedagogy Podcast. That's more alliteration. I love it. Hosted by Dr. Tommy Dobbs. This is a newer podcast series from Tommy, focusing on conversations with a diverse roster of educators and scope of topics, and providing up-to-date pedagogical information for all experience levels and not just percussionists. Initial conversations are with Omar Carmenetes, Jamie Esposito, Brad and Crystal Reeves, and Christopher Ha, which can all be found on Tommy's website at www.tommydobbspercussion.com/podcast, which we'll also throw in our show notes. So now it's time to eavesdrop on Abby and Matt's conversation about their duo and online collaboration. You can also visit our Facebook page or website to view the video conversation, which will be linked in the show notes as well.
Hey, Matt.
How's it going?
Good. How are you over there in Hong Kong?
Pretty good. So we are the Fisher-Lau Project. I'm Matthew Lau.
I'm Abby Fisher.
And we're doing a little sort of casual chat Zoom recording meeting for Black Swan Percussion. So tell everybody where you are.
Yeah, I am currently living in Knoxville, Tennessee, and I already gave it away. Matt is in Hong Kong.
Yep, it's 9-something in the morning right now.
And 9 p.m. or 9:20 p.m. over here.
So we recorded a video of us doing a work by Marcio Kagel for this next edition of Black Swan's Sound Solution project, and the folks at Black Swan thought it might be a good idea for us to talk about how we work together. Obviously, prior to COVID, we were already apart, but we had played together, rehearsed in person while we were apart, and we rehearsed in person when we met. So let's just talk about that.
Yeah, our first question I'm going to ask you is, how did we first meet? And then how did we form our duo, the Fisher-Lau Project?
We met for the first time back in 2011, I believe. Was that right? 2011, yeah. 2010.
Or 12. One of those years.
I was an NYU first-year grad student or second-year grad student, I forgot. And I saw this, fierce little chick just walked in and, audition, play some crazy marimba piece. And we had to play with you, remember? We had to do like a chamber audition. And I was like, damn, she is amazing. Who is this girl? Like, who is she? We never talked, but she left. And then she ended up coming to NYU a year later. So we met at NYU, and when I first started my DMA program at Stony Brook, she was looking into doing a DMA program. So one thing led to another. She went to a bunch of school for lessons and stuff, and she got into our school, and that's how we first officially played together.
Yeah, so we didn't actually start. We started the duo once we were both doing our DMA at Stony Brook, even though we were, playing in percussion ensemble and all of that at NYU. But then officially playing together as a duo at Stony Brook.
Yeah, but we used to hang out at NYU regardless, because I was kind of part of the program, but I was sort of like a gap year student, so I was just doing my auditions, pre-screening tapes, and the rep and everything. You were part of the program, so we would we'll hang out, we would eat, we would do yoga together. You got me started in yoga. Yeah, you should be very proud.
I am. Yeah, yoga and then sushi.
Sushi, milestone.
Sushi dinners
of our lives. Yep. So the next question, how did we work together after we left Stony Brook, which was about 3 years ago? Because we had played together since then.
Definitely, yeah. And when preparing for this talk that we're going to have, I was looking back at what we've done since 2017, which is when we graduated from Stony Brook. And we have done quite a few performances. We were trying to do at least one performance a year, which is, I think, a pretty amazing goal to have, considering our distance. So, figuring out how we were going to actually make that happen, being so far apart and wanting to, get together and practice before that performance and possibly learn new music, which we have done in these years since. So how we actually made that happen was we were only able to accomplish this, I believe, because we had such a strong foundation. Like, we spent so many hours and years practicing together, and we built up, a good amount of repertoire that we've been able to build on since and perform some of those pieces again, since not being together and having to just have a couple days or hours to practice and get this piece back together. But then also, since we know each other so well and we've played so much together, if we are getting a new piece together, we can do it in a quicker amount of time because we've worked together before and we know each other and we know how this is going to go, and we've set up a practice schedule and things like that. So I think it's having a strong foundation and then having a good plan in place when there's only a couple hours before the performance, or having a strategy to talk through it and be able to play it, at a moment's notice.
I think, to be honest, we could do it. Like, I also sort of thought back in the back of my head, like, we had a couple of days, we had like a week when we were doing Transplanted Wood in Australia, right? We had a week almost, and then we had sometimes like 5 days to rehearse. But like, if the next gig that we got, like, we only have whatever engagement we have, in our lives, and then we have to come, fly to whatever place, and then we'll make it happen in 2 days, I feel like we could do it. Like, I think we could do it. We could make it happen. It's just the planning prior to that and how we practice our parts personally, and then how we come up with the practice schedule that would work before, and then also the 2 days we come together. I really think will work, because I was thinking about that.
Yeah. And something that you have been really great at for our duo is making click tracks. You've been amazing at doing that, and so we're able to practice separately and know our parts really well, and then be able to come together and that part is not, you got to come with your part totally prepared and then be able to incorporate that into the other person's part and knowing their part just as well as your own. So that's something that we've just learned through being in chamber rehearsals throughout our lives. So that's nothing new, but I think you making those clicks in preparation has been pretty awesome too.
Yeah, thank you. I think for everybody who's starting in school or getting out of school or graduating, they have chamber groups or they have duos. I think it's a really good chance right now in school, not right now, but when you're in school, to really work out a pretty big chunk of rep in your whatever genre you're in. Because had we not played all of those crazy difficult dual pieces in back in school. I don't think we could play something like anything right now. Like if we receive a difficult piece, we can pretty much rehearse. We can plan it out. What's the most difficult part? How should we do this? Let's set up a schedule, something like that. But I think a lot has to do with all of those difficult pieces that we played in the past and the strong foundation that we had. So for now, and with smart programming and everything, we can turn a couple of programs with the pieces we already had with new pieces that are slightly not as difficult, all that stuff all together.
So, Matt, can you address any specific challenges that we've had in our virtual collaboration and how we've tried to work through those challenges?
We started working sort of virtually, actually, when we were doing that performance in Australia. I remember we played Applebaum's Gone Dog Gone. We tried to rehearse on Skype, and it just like after the first 1 minute, or no, 30
second.
30 seconds.
Are you with me?
Like, it's not gonna work. Like, did you play? Are we together? It was just, I know exactly that. Like, that's not gonna work.
Before COVID.
Yeah, no. So challenges, we can't rehearse no matter how fast your internet is. We can't rehearse with Skype or Zoom or whatever app you're doing, because there's latency and it's just not going to be like absolutely together. So that was a big challenge, because all of the pieces that we play have certain style and play a certain way, and certain pieces are harder in that certain way. So my solution was like what you said, make click tracks, and really talk through the pieces and how we work together. And I think prioritizing a lot of the stuff when we do meet together. So like we can do click track for this first two section, and but when we get together, we should spend a lot of time in this section, because this is the most notey part, and we should spend most of our rehearsal on that, that kind of thing. Virtual challenge wise, not really, which is amazing.
Yeah, something I remember
pretty smooth.
Yeah, I remember something from the working on the piece for Transplanted Roots. We definitely did use the click track for Gone Dog Gone, but I also remember like recording myself playing one of the sections to like give to you, and then you would practice with me playing rather than just practicing with a click track, and then you would also record yourself playing and I would practice with you playing. So it was almost as if we were practicing over Zoom, but just with the recording of the person. And then we did that again recently in preparation for the Kaggle recording. I was like, hey, Matt, here's a version of the Kaggle, but slower than we're going to actually record it at. And then you were able to practice with a recording of me rather than just practicing with a metronome. And I think that's a way better way to, if you're going to do duo or chamber rehearsal with someone over the internet, actually get a recording from them playing rather than just like, well, let's all practice at this metronome marking, because you're practicing with a human playing music.
Yeah, I mean, there's some sort of like, oh, I'm following you in that sense, because that's just how things will be, even in person. Like, we know that certain parts, I'm following you, you're following me, and that worked out actually the best. Like, I know exactly when you will freak out, and when exactly why I will freak out, or like how we will breathe into that, and that will work really well. Like when I was doing the Kaggle recording, because I know exactly how you play, and when I listened to your part with just sitting down with a cup of coffee, and like, okay, she sort of sped up a little bit there, so I would just watch her cues in my laptop, and you can actually see that in the video. My eyes are like, okay, that's my cue, and it worked. That only took 2 takes. The first take, there were some oopsies because I wasn't quite ready, and then the second one, it was perfect like that. So I think that saved a lot of time, to be honest.
Yeah.
So why don't you tell us about how we select repertoire in terms of being a distance duo, right? It's been 3 years.
Yeah. So we we haven't really been thinking of it as being a distance duo because we were in person for so long. We started in person, so like we said before, the foundation of who we are as a duo and our repertoire is kind of who we are and what we've taken with us. So we don't think of it as um, us sort of preparing in a virtual way, and how we choose a repertoire in that sense. We have this foundation of work, and then we're working from that and continuing to add new pieces on. When we do add new pieces, I guess we do think of, are we gonna be able to learn this completely new piece um, apart from each other? And in that sense, we're not gonna pick something that we won't be able to get together and we can't rehearse for a month together. So we have to be smart in our choices in that sense. But most of our repertoire, we haven't thought of it in the sense of being a virtual duo.
Yeah, agree. Because I think most, like, if we were to come up with two separate programs for, let's say, a college tour or whatever, right? Program A, program B, I think the backbone of both programs would be the pieces we play together, which is some of the hardest pieces in the repertoire for percussion duo, and we will actually add to that with other slightly different pieces, different style, or slightly less difficult pieces. So the two programs would balance it out, and it's not too crazy to learn a lot of crazy rap, like, distance wise. Because the Coggle, I mean, you're playing it with someone in Tennessee, and I played it years ago with another student in Stony Brook, but we never played together. So that's like a new piece for us. Like, we're learning it
Right.
essentially apart, and it worked, I think.
Yeah, I think that's another strategy is to take repertoire that either one of us has played before with someone else, or that we're looking to play, in our own locations, but that we also want to play together as a duo. And so we are going to spend a lot of time individually working on it, and then we can come together, and it's going to be easier because we have worked on the piece a lot in person with other people, and then when we come together we know that the piece that much better, and we just have to figure out, okay, now I'm going to play with Matt, or I'm going to play with Abby. Let's figure this out together.
Yeah, and when I thought about it, like our teachers or the other colleagues, that more senior colleagues, they've been doing this like for a long time. Like, I mean, how many times have you heard like our teachers say, "Oh, I have to play this duo concert tomorrow in Italy"? I'm like, how you're teaching us right now, and what do you mean? Like, oh, I'm flying, and tomorrow I'm playing, this duo concert with my duo partner. I'm like, okay, great, wow. So you just don't rehearse then? It's really just the hour or the day before the actual show. So it's possible it might sound daunting at first. It sounded daunting to us. We're like, oh my
Sure.
god, we have to play the apple bomb. Ooh,
Yeah.
oh, but here we are.
Right. So Matt, you're the one that edits our videos. Can you talk a little bit about any hardware or software advice that you have, suggestions, advice?
Yeah, since everybody is at home right now and sort of stranded with nothing to do, Amazon delivers, right? So it's great. But we can get all the gear we want. But I keep it simple. I mean, I'm not a photographer, or I know enough to just make things look nice, but I'm by no means professional in all of these. So we actually been recording with our phones, both of us. Phones actually make really good camera these days. So I mean, you can of course get a nice video camera and do all of the editing, but if you're in school, everybody has a phone. Everybody has some kind of recording device in the back of your pocket. Um, so we've been just using our phones. Um, our microphones on our phone actually sounds pretty good. That was also a surprise. That one time I actually used an external microphone was when we were doing Alex Temple's piece, and I was playing vibraphone, and that particular, for some reason, because it was pretty loud, and there was some like distortion with the audio, so I actually have an external mic for the phone, and they make mics like that, like I think a few years ago, there's an external mic, just plugs in directly to the computer. You can use that. It's a USB mic. I don't have that because I have an actual like audio interface with, a condenser mic. But that would means, sort of syncing up the audio again. And like I said, fast solution, either with your microphone on your phone or an external mic that just sort of plugs in to your phone. So this is like a condenser mic, but it just sort of just plugs into your phone. And that is the easiest way, I feel like. You can also get one of these for your camera. Like if you have DSLR camera, people do it a lot with like vloggers and sort of on the go interview and stuff. You will see like a mic mounted on the hot shoe. So that's how I do it. Mount wise, just sort of anything, like this is like a cheap Amazon like a tripod mount. Just put your camera, put your phone in. You can record yourself practicing, and this is great. If you don't have a mount, you can use a, this is a great plug. You can use a wood block. I forgot who showed me this, but that I did not come up with this, by the way. I'm not taking credit for this. I forgot who, but remind me if you see this video. This is a great, with blocking, just put your camera like this. Isn't it great? There you go. This is your mount. Just put it in your on your music stand. It worked. Like it just when you're practicing murmur, right? You just put it on the high end. You can see your hands. Great. Yeah, and that's it. I use 2 ring lights. One of them is here right now. It's one of those beauty ring lights. A lot of them have a camera mount already built in, so you can just sort of do selfie video that way. It's good $20 on Amazon, pretty cheap. And that's it. That's sort of, I mean, we can get really into like, oh, if we want great camera and get great video and do all the editing, but for whatever video you've been seeing on my social media and the video I sent Black Swan, it's been recorded with my camera and the camera microphone. I didn't even use an external mic because that was not needed. That was how I do it.
Thanks so much, Black Swamp, for having us as part of the Sound Solution project. We hope everyone continues to stay well and makes music and keeps practicing with all of your Black Swamp percussion gear.
Keep your hands going, keep practicing. Stay safe, everyone.
This has been a BSP production, recorded and produced out of the Black Swamp Percussion home studio. Audio and production assistance not provided by Jamel Taylor and Nathan Coles in this case. It was all me, but the intro and outro music was by Adam Hopper. Music sprinkled throughout the episode was from the Fisher Lau Project, including works by Mark Applebaum, Alex Temple, Tona Shurkin, and Mauricio Kegel.